Learn anything you can from elders and mentors, especially from other fields. We can learn a lot from how they work, how they learn, how they collaborate with others, how they give to others. And to always remember that what you say matters, what you make matters, and how you say and make it matters too. Welcome back. Now I'm going to be talking about some creative prompts and guidelines that may help you in your own creative endeavors. So here are some creative prompt sheets that were created by Juliet Palmer and Miriam Palmer under the name of Urban Vessel. And I'd like to invite you to observe them with me. So this one engages with your body. It says, choose a body part and give some suggestions. You can create your own. And it can also be a window or something in your environment, and just notice the outline of trace. See if you can pet something, record your trace, record it in different ways. And these are all practices that relate to how you might compose or create something. This one invites you to listen. You may hear something sharp or hard or energizing. Record the sounds. Make it short but not too short. Then describe the sounds and your relationship to them. This is to help you gain awareness of what you enjoy about something, what engages you with something, and how you might want to incorporate that into something if you use that recorded sound or if you recreate something based on this. Walk and talk. Going somewhere outside, be aware of what's around you. What do you hear, feel, smell? Take a voice memo while you're out, 2 to 4 minutes. This is a longer engagement, so you can really notice what you're experiencing, notice how you're feeling, think about how your audience might experience something that you present to them, think about how you feel while you present it to them, and just engage with your senses and the sensory stimuli and how that might relate to your art. This bingo card, you can create your own. All of these you can create your own, but maybe it's a good starting point. And this is just like quick fire. Try to do as many of these things. If you're feeling stuck, choose a box, go do it, have a try, and then you have something to start from. Another important step to take at the beginning of an approach to a new project is to choose your media goal, especially in this idea of interdisciplinary projects. If you're learning a new skill or incorporating something that you haven't so many times, there's often a big learning curve. So if you choose the discovery media goal, and you really want to experiment and see what can come just from sort of more free play, then choose familiar programs or skills that you already are familiar with. And then experiment in as many ways as possible, but the addendum that I would give is to document the trials so that you're able to repeat it and able to notice what you liked and what worked and what didn't work in each of them. If you have a specific idea of something that you'd like to create that you haven't created before, then spend the time up front to consult a mentor, do some research, and really build your toolbox, whether that's like doing a tutorial, getting a new piece of equipment. Spend more time creating your toolbox than in the experimentation phase, I would say. And then once you have done all of this, you can see how your practice shifts and adapts so that you can really make it shimmer. And the addendum I would put here is that once you've done that initial learning, there's so much more learning that you can do, so give yourself a 10 to 20 minute Google Max hunt. So if there's something that you come up to that you can't figure out, 20 minutes, can't do it, shift your process. That's for the next time. Another thing that I find is invaluable in interdisciplinary projects is mentorship. Learn anything you can from elders and mentors, especially from other fields. We can learn a lot from how they work, how they learn, how they collaborate with others, how they give to others. And to always remember that what you say matters, what you make matters, and how you say and make it matters too. This brings me to intention and process. I think these are two of the most core values of interdisciplinary projects, because what can be really powerful is if you're bringing different elements that make something very pertinent. But similar to what I was saying in the project where there's imagery without visuals, perhaps adding another element would make it extraneous. Or if you have an element that makes your project very cohesive, perhaps adding that element would actually make it more disjunct or fall flat. But if you have a strong intention and a good, healthy process throughout, then your project may end up being very impactful. And what I think is important for all projects across the board, but especially if it's more collaborative and growing, is to make sure that you have care for everyone involved and to tend to all those whom you're inviting in. So that's yourself, any collaborators, your audience members. This is where it's important to remember to give trust, signposts, and what I call comfort rest stops. So in your piece, if you're asking your performer to do something that is maybe taxing and new to them, do that for a bit, but then do something comfortable for a while so that they have time to regenerate and have their energy. Also, it's important to remember practical limitations. So if you don't have a skill yet, then try a little bit, but don't go all the way. Maybe you would like to do a piece in versions and bite off little bits of that as you can. And that's where it's important to remember your artistic and media-based goals. Keep everything a little bit in check, but also explore new ground. In the description below, you'll see a link to an article from the CBC called 10 or so questions to ask yourself before making art about a group you don't belong to. These are some questions that I think are universally good to do before any project that you engage in. And it's relevant not only with collaborating with different people, but also with different art forms. So if you're excited to try something new, great, go for it. And then once you're starting to bring it into a project that's going to be presented possibly to the public, really think about, does it need to be a part of this project? Am I doing this in the right way? Should I invite other people? All of this to encourage you to go there, but to do it with intention and to think about the impacts of what you're bringing into your project. In a similar vein, with interdisciplinary projects, there are many modalities that may come into play. So some questions that I often ask myself are, in terms of program notes, is there any part of this project that is just there as backup? When I'm talking about all those cues that you can give to audience members, maybe I'm just putting something into the piece that is for contextual information, but really it doesn't need to be part of the art. It can go in the program note. Or vice versa. Is there something essential that's in the program note that not everyone will read that should be integrated into the artwork itself? Another question is, does it need to happen in real time? Can people refer back or move at their own pace? This may help you navigate whether something is going to be in a musical form, in a visual art form, or whether it's more part of the promotional side or infographic side of your project. Focus and plan your time because things can be on a really big scope really quickly. When you're introducing more variables and new skills, it's important to focus on your strengths and what excites you. Be realistic given the time constraint and know which areas can settle for less, and mix techniques according to your skills. So if you saw the earlier segment where I talked about the media feedback loop in the piece called Acier Ecke, originally I wanted to animate all of the colors and create this fancy video, but I realized I was not there yet in my computer skills, so I just got some little jewels and I videotaped them and then I layered them with the video skills I had at the time. So you start with an idea, you try it for a bit, it's not working, you go back to something else and then it creates something that you wouldn't have been able to do anyways. Another good way to advance your skills is through LinkedIn Learning. It's usually available through your library. Free, really good tutorials. And then just a reminder that once you get past that initial toolbox stage, give yourself a limit for how long you're willing to explore new skills that if you come across roadblocks along the way. Some other good things to practice are explaining your project to a lay person. Often with interdisciplinary projects, the scope gets very big and maybe in bringing in so many elements, it's clear to you, but not as clear to other people. So when you explain it in different ways, you can see how you might be able to bring focus to your project. Performing your improv score is always a good idea. Maybe you think that you've put a lot of elements in there, but there are actually some gaps that you can fill in. So remember to practice performing it as you go. Also, writing down improvisation in different notations can be helpful. See if your original notation is the best, or maybe you can have more freedom with a different style of notation. Translating material from one medium to another, sort of like the feedback loop, can bring interesting elements. And finally, just listen and watch to other shows, consume art and ideas in places that you wouldn't necessarily think of. Lots of cool ideas come from this. This is just a little summary of some programs that I find are easily accessible that might help get you started if you're especially interested in involving visual tech. So I often suggest editing audio first, separately from the video. Free or cheaper resource is Reaper for this. For video, some cheaper options are OpenShot or iMovie on Mac or Shotcut on Windows. DaVinci Resolve has a bit of a higher learning curve, but is also free, I believe. Or if you have funds to pay for them, there's Final Cut, Adobe Premiere Pro, After Effects, and Rush. And I haven't used this myself, but I have friends who really recommend Animation Desk for animation. And finally, today, I just would like to reiterate that risky ideas usually work out best. If something scares you, it's probably a good thing to try. And as my teacher in university said, I wish for you to experience sudden moments of beauty. You can create them, you can change the rules, no hope, no fear, free. Don't believe in too many rules, challenge them. Thanks for tuning in today. I hope some of this resonated with you and that maybe these techniques can be helpful in your own creative projects. Don't forget to go check out the other awesome videos on Organist Launchpad.